Okay, it seems like I'm the only one here. But this session will be posted on Canvas later on today, so it's the same. I'm just gonna keep it kind of quick because you know I'm here talking to myself essentially. Well, a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, I'm on your side, right? My only goal here is to help you finish your capstone project. And that's my only goal, right? And believe it or not, I'm on your side. And second of all, I had a conversation with Dr. Wynn, Director Wynn, and we're on the same page. So he knows exactly what I'm doing in the class and what kind of material that I'm providing and why am I doing certain things. And we're exactly on the same page. So if you have a question or if you have an issue, you should communicate with me. And instead of going thinking that you can go over my head or something. Well, first of all, that's not nice. And second of all, I'm a full professor. So, that's not how it works in this process. All right. And third, I have posted material on Canvas, and it is important that you go onto Canvas, look at if you missed a Zoom session, or if you miss Zoom sessions, all those sessions are posted on Canvas one way or the other, right? And also all the material, the PowerPoints and the worksheets and all the additional resources. So, use the resources, right? And it's better than complaining before you understand what exactly that I have asked you to do, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what am I talking about today? Let's finish the session on writing a literature review. Yesterday, I went over some basic requirements of what a literature review is about and what sources you should use, right? And once again, let me reiterate um, the sources primarily, majority of your sources and references need to come from referee journals. And that's just basic requirement and also best practice because of the reasons that we talked about. Referee journals, you can use some professional reports, but those are much less explanatory. They are not really explaining. They're not really designed to explain something. They are designed to highlight or describe, so more descriptive than explanatory. So they are not, and most of them, they are not refereed. Right? And so they are a little bit less credible than referee journals, and that's why they should be only used as an auxiliary or complementary to the primary sources, which means referee journals. And then we continued to talk about the requirements, right? And once again, we are looking at PA, public administration oriented journals and sources, because this is your discipline. Right? This is your master's. Your master's in a master in public administration. It's not criminology. It's not education. It's not psychology. It's not finance. But it's in public administration. So focus your search and screen your references and make sure that the majority of them are from public administration journals or public administration books, right? And that's and the other thing is that recent research, meaning majority of the sources and the references should be from the past 10 years. Majority, not especially, like I mentioned, the classic research that most people cite. Most likely, they have been around for quite some time, and it's definitely not just allowed, but encouraged that you cite the classic references. But the bulk, the majority of your references needs to be within the past 10 years. Okay? So I'm going to move on and talk about the rest of the literature review. So once again, the literature review is not just a bunch of summaries, but it's a review, and that's why it's called a review. It's a review of all the literature, and more important, it's a review of everything that we know, as much, well, not everything, because it's impossible to know everything, but as much as possible what we know within the field, within the discipline, on the topic, right? So in that case, what we are saying is that public administration, right? And there are many topics. And yes, the management literature, a lot of it comes from the business administration, not so much public administration. So that's understandable, okay? But still, if you are focused on a specific management issue, then yes, it's okay to use more literature or references from business administration, but you still need to make that bridge, right, to establish why that literature is relevant to your topic and also your research, which is public administration oriented. So that's where we're at, all right? And so it cannot be just a bunch of summaries. And the annotated bibliography is to help you extract the material, the information from, or the articles. And they are just for the sake of, consider the annotated bibliographies as building blocks, right? And, you know, when you build a house with bricks, the building blocks, you're still going to paint the house, right? You're not just going to have the bricks, you know, and have the bricks exposed. You're still going to dress it up. And that's exactly what it is. A literature review needs to be reorganized, everything rephrased, and everything paraphrased. And remember, 15%, 15%, 15%. So, and the other thing is that, yes, now some of your projects, some of you are more theoretically oriented. Some of you have already identified which theoretical frameworks or perspectives that you're using. So yeah, you should, in that case, increase the component, the theoretical component in your literature review. I devote part of it to theoretical work. But for the most part, the literature review has to do with empirical findings, right? The research findings, meaning all the other studies or the other research, you know, what do we know about this specific topic? And so it's your call. It's your call to see how you're going to balance this you know, theory and empirical components in your literature review. Okay. And for those of you who are not working with, okay. Well, it seems like there's a problem with the Zoom session. Okay, let me, hold on, let me take a look. Because I'm, okay, that's not started. Give me 1 second. This is odd. Let me start again. Oh, no, still me. Hold on. So I was reviewing some of the issues that we've talked about last time, and For instance, we talked about where to find the sources, public administration oriented, and I said uh, a lot of management issues or management topics you're going to find in uh, business administration journals, and that's okay because most of the work it's published over there. And then in that case, it's up to you to establish the linkage between the public administration sourced material and why you are using that for your project. Okay. And I explained again why peer review is so important and the issue of recent research, meaning most of the studies or most of the references need to be within the past 10 years. Okay, most and not all. Part of it is that the major works, right, the classic works within each topic, probably they've been around for a little bit. And part of the goal of the literature review is to show how those classic works shape all the subsequent research, including yours, right? All right, so that's where we're at. And I also mentioned that some of you have already identified theoretical frameworks or concepts that you want to use for your research. And in that case, there is a theoretical component in your literature review that you need to, in that case, you have to include a theoretical section of the literature review. What has been theorized in explaining the topic or the research question that you're trying to address, right? But mostly we are looking at projects that are much more empirically oriented, meaning not so much theoretically driven, okay? So in that case, it's fine. It's fine. In fact, it's completely okay to just include references and sources that are addressing, or in that case, empirical studies or research, right? So it's perfectly okay if all of your references are not theoretically driven, and if they are more empirically oriented in the case of research and studies, okay? But the thing is that, once again, the literature review is to review the state of the knowledge on the topic, right? So it's very important for you to think about your literature review, not in terms of a list of summaries, but it's an argument, right? To establish that relationship between what we know and then what you're about to do, okay? So moving on, and if you remember 620, I talked about this, is actually part of your argument. Is actually part of your argument in convincing your readers that what you need to do, what you're doing, it's justified, and what you're doing adds to the existing knowledge, right? And so that's why it's important to identify the research gap and then prove to your readers how you are filling in the research gap, right? So if you look at page 5 of your PowerPoint, a literature review is a piece of discursive prose. It's not a list of summaries. Paraphrase everything, rephrase everything. Some of you are doing a really good job in rephrasing and keeping your match rate low, and that's very important because 15%, right? It's a program requirement, and 15% it's something that we shoot for. So rephrase everything, paraphrase everything. Sometimes you integrate several studies into just one description. If several studies, they are pointing at the same direction, it's perfectly okay to integrate them into one single paragraph. Remember, I talked about using other people's literature review to do to search, right? To collect articles. And look at how their literature review is written, right? And you should really work after that, right? So yeah, it's a discursive prose, and it's part of your part of your argument. And instead of just some description, leading your readers to your own research, right? This is what they are doing, and different perspectives and themes. And this is why I posted that worksheet, right? Identify the major perspectives or themes that have been that you see in the existing literature, and then organize your literature review accordingly. Theme number 1, theme number 2, theme number 3. And then in that process, you're describing how the entire field of public administration has been looking at this particular problem. And where do you fit, right? Where does your work fit, right? And it's okay to comment. As a matter of fact, we need to see that you are commenting on the existing themes or perspectives, right? To show that you understand the entire field of public administration, how they have been looking at this problem. Some effort. Right? We need to show that some effort in identifying the major themes, and some effort in how these different themes address one another in their work, and what is not done adequately, and that's where you step in, right? And it's not unusual that you might want to go back to your introduction section to do some changes and some minor revisions after the literature review process, because now you know what's out there so much better. And then it's much more likely that you will identify a research gap, and then that will make your make the significance of your study stronger. If you include if you add 1 or 2 sentences in your introduction section in addressing the research gap after you have done the literature review, that's perfectly okay. As a matter of fact, that's usually what happens in professional research. We'll go back and forth between different sections and keep revising. I know, you just want to get it done, but at the same time, yeah, that's absolutely necessary as a process, right? But once again, some effort. I just need to see that some effort is put into understanding the different perspectives, clearly identifying different perspectives in addressing that one single question, and then how they are reacting or commenting towards one another. And then finally, where you come in and what you are doing, it's either an extension or filling in the research gap, okay? So the major thing is to be organized. Organize. Organizing. That's why the worksheet, right? And I've already make it as easy as possible so that you can just cut and paste or fill in. And so make use of it, okay? So some effort in evaluating the existing research and the state of the field, okay? And each paragraph, you should open each paragraph with an umbrella sentence that summarizes that perspective, okay? For instance, homicide research, there are different ways of explaining homicides. So one perspective is to think about social disorganization. So there'll be one topic sentence, one umbrella sentence, right, that includes all the citations that fit into that perspective, and then addressing the perspectives, the different studies under that perspective. So the main thing that most people don't do well is to keep yourselves organized, and that's why I have included the worksheets to help you to do that. But once again, the worksheets don't just cut and paste, don't just do verbatim. You need to paraphrase and rephrase. And to paraphrase, meaning you replace some words, some word sequence, and that's paraphrasing. Okay? Any questions about literature review? The other thing is that I've posted the format, the template, right? Like I mentioned many times, grad division, they are very specific about the format, meaning the margins, where different things are on the page. So to make your life easy, I have posted a format on under today. Right? You see MPA capstone project template. And in that case, again, it's in a Word file, so you can just cut and paste. And it's if you want to change the topic of your study later on, that's fine. That you can change place, change things, and make different revisions until the final draft, right? And so the template, I use the template. Right? And as a matter of fact, it's always a good idea to start early instead of the last minute. The last minute, everybody's stressed out and everybody gets angry. So if you have a few minutes or under an hour, just download the template and use the template to start your formatted draft. Okay, and from now on, it would be a good idea to submit drafts to me that is already formatted, so that later on, again, you just cut and paste. You don't have to deal with formatting again. And especially the last hour, it always happens. The last hour before the deadline, and then something goes wrong with your computer or your Word program, some settings. Everybody gets really angry, frustrated, and something always goes wrong. Try not to do that, because it doesn't help, right? So that's another thing that I've added to the Canvas page, to give you more tools so that you don't have to start from scratch, right? Any other questions? Any other questions for now? No? Anyone? Okay, yeah, I know 2 days in a row is a lot, and today, there's a curveball with Zoom sessions. It gets weird, but yeah, I'm here with you, and I'm here trying to. It's like a weird image is that I'm a bus driver and I'm trying to drive you guys to completion and get this done, right? So get on the bus, okay? So if nothing else, I will stop here and put this clip on Canvas, and I'll think of anything else I need to add, any additional information that I need to include in helping you with this process of putting together your literature review, okay? Looking for the template is under today, okay? No, it's uploaded, listed under today. Look at the Canvas page. Look at the Canvas page, and then I'm looking at the Canvas page right now, okay? And if you scroll down under week 6, October 2nd and 3rd, then you'll see MPA capstone format template. That's the template that you'll be using. Okay? All right. Anything else? Yes, well, that's what the table of content is for, right? Of course, you don't have to complete table of contents at this point, but I'm talking about other parts of the template, the title page, right, and the names of the professors on the committee. At least get that stuff out of the way so that you don't have to look for information when the deadline approaches, right? Anything else? Okay, so I'll stop the recording here, and this clip will get posted later on within an hour or so, or 2 hours. Okay? And hopefully you are making progress, and yeah. All right, I'll see you guys next week. All right, take care.